I'm going to be doing a January and February reading recap. Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. This one was a domestic thriller. In the story, it portrays a marriage, a disappearance, and an island. Grady, he is a author. His wife, Abby, goes missing. He's on the phone to her. All of a sudden there's a crash, and by the time he gets to her, she's missing. After a year of him being grief-ridden, his agent says, hey, there's a place that's opened up on a Scottish island. You can go there. Some writing inspo. Once he gets to the island, things start to go a little bit strange. This book was a slow burn mystery. The cool thing was I listened to this one on audiobook, and it had really cool sound effects and kind of ominous, moody vibes. It was very slow burn. It did keep me hooked the whole time, but not enough to love it. 3 stars, the third book in a romantasy series, Crown This Cold and Heavy. Book 1 is a romantasy. It's a bit of a slow burn. It's enemies to lovers, found family, really fun, cool, brave, courageous main character who grows into herself, especially by the third book, and a grumpy male main character. What happens in this series, just the first book, is that Prisca lives in a world where her magic is taken away. So when you're born, it gets taken away and given to the gods to protect the borders from the fae. Prisca's secret is that she still has her powers, so she is considered corrupt. She has to go on the run. When she's on the run, she bumps into this guy, Lorian, and he leaves her. She almost dies. It's the enemies to lovers. And these books are filled with revenge, love, survival, betrayal, friendship. I found the third book a little bit slower than the first book. The third book, I'm just kind of going along with it. It's still a good series, but it's not one of my favourite series. I really like the characters. It's another good book, but didn't completely give me that feeling of the 5 stars. And then book number 3, I read a non-fiction by Mel Robbins. It was called Let Them. This book was perfect for a reset and restart kind of vibe, and it's such a motivational, inspirational. Actually, all 3 books so far I've been listening to on audiobook, and Mel actually reads this herself, and she has such a fun way of storytelling and engaging with the reader, and she puts in her personal stories along with research that she's done. The concept is such a fun concept, and I'll be taking it into the year because basically it's let them and then you let me, but she just goes into way more depth, and I would definitely recommend this book. She's so witty, and it's such a fresh take on self-development and empowering, and one of my friends read it and we were just chatting and saying how good it is, and also my mum read it as well. She recommended it to me because she loves the Mel Robbins podcast. It was really uplifting. She just teaches you how to stop wasting your energy on things that you can't control. So I really liked that aspect of the book, and especially her stories, how she relates to it. Okay, and then the 4th book I read was such an anticipated, hyped up book, and it was Onyx Storm, which is the 3rd book in the Imperium series by Rebecca Yarros. And I read this one on holiday. I took my time. I read it over a week and a half. At first I was enjoying it, and I really enjoyed the adventure side of it. Got a lot more dragons. The only thing was I was a little bit let down by the ending. I just didn't feel the connection between Violet and Xaden, and I feel we get very superficial, surface level characters for them both. I am still a little bit intrigued. I just thought the writing was just so clunky, and it didn't really flow. Gave it a 3 stars. I feel it would be such a cool movie. The book kind of jumped around a lot from scene to scene, so I'm not sure if I completely love this series as much as I thought I would. The books I've read so far, 3 stars, except the Let Them, because it was a non-fiction book. But things start to get fun after I finish Onyx Storm. I picked up my first Abby Jimenez book, Part of Your World, which has been around for a long time. I think it got published in 2022, so it's been out for 3 years. And there's so much hype around these books, and I know why. I really get it now. It was... Okay, I read Part of Your World, went straight onto Yours Truly, was giggling and kicking my feet, crying. Every single emotion was drawn out of me when reading these books, and I'm currently reading just for the summer at the moment and 70% through, and just love these books. I got my sister onto it. She saw me reading Abby Jimenez's second book, Yours Truly, and she's like, what are you reading? The reactions that are coming out of you right now are just like, I need to know what's going on. I have found my fave new author. She's a doctor from like a renowned family of doctors, like 125 years of owning this hospital. So she's like really super wealthy, and the first scene of this book, I liked it so much because she basically moss splotted into my headlights over the long grass of the ditch. I was still clutching the wheel, my heart pounding. I'd swerved to miss a raccoon in the fog and careened into a shallow embankment on the side of the road. I was okay, shaken. And within this first paragraph, I was completely hooked. Like, she's on the phone to her best friend, this guy comes up to her. She's in this like small town called Wacken, I think that's how you pronounce it. The banter between her and her friend is so much fun. The banter between her and the love interest is next level. It's like the best chemistry in a romance book I read in such a long time. He's from a small town, he's got a goat, and then he's the mayor of this town, and it's just so creative and so much fun. Yeah, it just gives you like a really warm like sensation when you're reading this book, really happy. And even though it touches on some pretty serious issues, I think there is domestic and narcissistic abuse touched on in this book. It's just honestly like, I couldn't stop crying at some parts, and she's such a cool main character. They both have so much depth and backstory, and the part where he's talking about his animals is just so funny. The names that the animals are just so fun. Like, he has a pig called Kevin Bacon. I just love it. So that was part of your world, and then I read Yours Truly on my Kindle, and that's about her best character, Alexis's best friend Brianna. That book is just so sweet. Like, if you like words of affirmation, because the banter is even more next level. It touches on social anxiety, like the main male character has social anxiety, and it was just such a refreshing take. And like, you could tell that she had talked to people in healthcare that are working alongside people with, you know, anxiety or mental health, and I just thought it was so well done. And there's like a really touching scene. Oh, it's not in this book. Oh wait, it is in this book. In the acknowledgement, she thanks like all these doctors and nurses, and but I think it's dedicated to her friend, a special thank you. And there's a phrase in here. She thanks Ashley Spivey, who allowed me to use her words. I believe in you. This is not your fault, and you don't deserve this. Ashley is a brave and vocal survivor of domestic violence. This was such a powerful statement that I asked if I could repeat it in this book. Thank you for letting me do so that message can reach more those who need to hear it. But oh sorry, that was just going back to part of your world. This is definitely like up there. This is a 5-star read for me. Just like the chemistry was unmatched, and the depth that these characters have in the whole series, it's just, I can't stop reading, and I can't wait for the 4th book to come out. In the 2nd book, in Yours Truly, he has social anxiety, and he came off as quite, in the first part of the book, he comes off as quite rude to her, just because he's gone into freeze mode and kind of can't figure out on like what to say, so it just comes across as rude. But he writes her a letter, and it's just the sweetest little letter. And just having worked in healthcare, it just can get so busy when you're on the ward, and she has a closet that she goes into just to sit for some peace and quiet, and he joins her in the likes that space as well, which she shares with him. And it's just so touching, because sometimes like, yeah, it does feel really overwhelming when you're working in healthcare, and like, it was just so relatable. Just like, you know, like I've had friends saying they go off to the toilet for a few minutes just for like some peace and quiet, you know, because you're like on the floor for like the whole 8-hour shift, like not taking breaks or anything. Sometimes not taking breaks, and just like putting your heart and soul into like caring for people. So it's like so it was just so relatable, and especially the social anxiety aspect of it. Like when I was doing my nursing placements, you're just like going from placement to placement, and like, and it's just like such a shock to the system going into it. He like describes it as like, I don't know, like when you're starting a new job, how it's like your first day of school, and it was just like, I just never heard that analogy before, but it's like it takes you back to like childhood, where like it's like terrifying going in for your first day of school, and like meeting so many people and everything. So, but anyway, he writes her a letter. I've just gone on a tangent there. He writes her a letter, and basically she reciprocates this letter, writes back. He was really scared at first, like had he gone too far, like done too much. Because Brianna had helped him. She gave her a clue on how to fit in, because also none of the nurses liked him when he started, because he was called, like, they were trying to nickname him Dr. Death. This is all in the first part of the book, but oh, it's just so heartwarming. And there's this scene where she's like, oh, I've always wanted to sign off with like yours truly, which is where the title comes in. It's like in Pride and Prejudice, when they're writing letters to each other, correspondence. So yeah, I just loved yours truly, and I gave that one 6 stars. It's already one of my favorite books. He's just my new favorite author, and there's a book coming out in April, Say You'll Remember Me, which is also a lyric in the Taylor Swift song, Wildest Dreams. Yeah, say you remember me in your wildest dreams. So yeah, I'm reading just for the summer, and he is just so kind to the main character. It is Justin, who is Brianna's brother's Benny, which we met in yours truly, which he was introduced here. His best friend, there's a group of 3 boys, Justin, Brad and Benny. So this is Justin's story, just for the summer. I don't want to say anything yet because I'm not finished, but this one touches on the fact that they're both cursed with, when they've both gone out with people, and then but they get broken up with, and then that person that they've been on the date with meets someone and they fall in love and married. So they meet in like a Reddit forum, and she was like, oh my gosh, me too, like this is happening to me. It is just, oh, it's so good. I think Abby does slow burn so well, like yours truly and just for the summer, and he is so kind. Like he is doing the most for her. Like he really likes her. Like I think all the guys in Abby Jimenez's books that I've read so far are golden retriever vibes, and it's honestly so refreshing to read about characters that actually have such good chemistry. Okay, yeah, so I think you get the gist. Like I am loving Abby Jimenez's books, and yeah, that's what I've read so far in January and February. It is the 21st of Feb today, and so hopefully I'll finish just for the summer. Just been on an Abby roll for the last 2 weeks, just reading her stories, and I would like to hopefully before February finishes. The last on my TBR for February is this book here, The Courting of Bristol Keats, and I've seen so many people love Mary E. Pearson's Dance of Thieves. I haven't read that yet, but I saw this is her new adult romantasy. I've just heard amazing things about her writing and her books, so I am very excited to do my first read of Mary Pearson's fantasy. This one says that never make a deal with fave. After losing both their parents, Bristol Keats and her sister struggle to stay afloat in their small, quiet town of Bowes Keep. When Bristol begins to receive letters from an aunt she's never heard of, who promises to help, she discovers that everything she thought she knew about her family is a lie. Her family might even still be alive, kidnapped by terrifying creatures from another realm. Desperate to save her father, Bristol's journey to Land of Gods, Fae and monsters. There she makes a deadly bargain with the Fae leader, Tigan. But what she doesn't know is that he's the one who drove her parents to live a life on the run. And he is just as determined as she is to find her father, dead or alive. and it's got praise by Adeline Grace, the start of a highly addictive, fantastical new series, and Jodie Picoult, rich, lush, and full of thorny moral conundrums. And then on the front, it's also got praise by Stephanie Garber, the Queen of Fairies. So I am so excited to read this one. And then I did see Sarah Crowley talking about this book a few times now, and they have it at the library, and it is Between Friends and Lovers, and it's got praise by Emily Henry. What a beautiful, emotionally generous, good-hearted book. And this one says Kennedy Ryan meets Carly Fortune in a swoon-worthy story of love and friendship. My camera just cut off because I was talking so much. This beanbag is so noisy. I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I had so much fun reading this book over the last few months. It's been such a good few months of reading. Found my new favourite author. She's up there with Chloe Walsh and Jessa Hastings. I love that for her. So if you like a bit of a romance, and if you've read it, let's chat in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Also let me know what you've been reading this month, if you've had any standout books that you loved. And I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here and sticking around if you did to this part of the video. Hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.